The Romney Hythe and Dymchurch Railway is one of our area's biggest attractions, popular with tourists as well as running a timetabled service. The railway's been closed for the latest lockdown, but behind the scenes there's been considerable work going on to get it ready, including by local company AW Rail, who are donating their time for free. To find out more, I started by speaking to Danny Martin, the railway's General Manager.
We were locked down for a long period last summer. And at that point, there was very little activity at all. It just wasn't in the national or the NHS interest to be running trains, of course. But from July, when the opportunity arose, being given that we're nearly always outdoors and we majored on going down to Dungeness, which is nice and out in the open, we converted 2/3 of our coaches to have screens so that each compartment was separate for COVID security. We changed all our cafes and shops to be sort of takeaway. And through the summer, we were trading at something like 40% of our normal business. But at least we were able to get people out and about on rides and get back to running the trains, which we enjoy. Net, we lost about £1 million. And so we were looking at a pretty dark winter, to be quite honest. Come the autumn, we made an application to the Culture and Heritage Fund, and we got an award. And that was used to make sure we had people jobs through the winter. And so we've been repairing track, engines, coaches. So the railway's looking in a good state.
Have you got an opening date in the spring where you will be running some sort of COVID-secure service? And when will that be?
We plan to start on the 12th of April. That's the back end of the Easter school holidays, so we're going to run quite a lot of services then, because we think people will be keen to make time in the school holidays, especially local people. But everyone will need to book ahead, so the sort of hop-on, hop-off type of arrangements won't be in place at that time.
In terms of the schedule that you've got going forward, now one of the things that the railway's known for is that you don't just run trains between Hythe and down the line to Dungeness and so on, but you also put on special events and special days. Do you have the plans in place for any of these coming back? Have you got some sort of timetable that you're working on for the end of the summer and the rest of this year?
Yes, we have, but it's a very tentative one at the moment. We want to see how people react to sort of what I would call normal services, where we still pre-booking and people have to use the compartments and just to make sure everyone feels completely safe. And that's going to really, I think, go into the summer. We've got our bus rally planned for early September, which is always a very successful one. And we even ran that with COVID arrangements last year. And then we'd look to do something around the return of one of our engines that people have been missing for a long time, Black Prince, in the autumn as well, because we haven't seen that around the railway for quite a number of years. It's been overhauled at the moment. And maybe a children's event, just one in the autumn as well. We haven't quite settled on that yet. We're just very conscious that we don't want to create a situation where there's lots of people milling around in one place too early and then causing a difficulty for everyone.
And finally, to talk about some of the renovation work that you've been doing, one of the links that we've helped create through Academy FM is the link between the local company AW Rail and yourselves. Give us an overview of what that relationship has done and what AW are working on.
Yes, I mean, that's really good news, because we can do a lot of the work ourselves, but some of the tasks require special safety equipment and skills, of course. AW Rail being, an outfit that are working on railways where particular precautions are needed ordinarily, have then come in and offered help on some of our quite difficult projects. Roof painting at Hythe, which we just really didn't know how we were going to tackle, but these guys actually know exactly what to do. So it's straight out of the tin and really good news. So that's going on as we speak. And meeting our 12th of April reopening deadline, so it'll look even smarter than we ever could have imagined. And in addition, there's some work along the lines to keep our pedestrian crossings safe. So we're really, really lucky to have this at this time.
Now, finally, for people listening who want to get an idea of the timetable from the 12th of April and also for events and activities after that, what's the best place for them to get that sort of information?
The website is www.rh&DR.org.uk, and that's where the events will appear as they become clearer when the dates for those are set.
Danny Martin from the Romney, Hythe and Dymchurch Railway. Next, I spoke to Ian Purdy from AW Rail, who've been volunteering their staff time to work on the railway recently. So we know that AW Rail has been working with the Romney, Hythe and Dymchurch Railway, but firstly, give us an idea of the work that AW Rail itself does on a day-to-day basis.
AW Rail are a civil and railway-based company. We have numerous contracts with Tiers 1s and with the client Network Rail. We can do anything from tunnels to bridges, pathways, fencing, basically anything line side that's not actually the infrastructure the train runs on.
So that's some fairly complex and demanding civil engineering type work. Is it a very big business? I know you're Folkestone based, but how many local people do you employ?
We have approximately about 170 people on our books, which I guess in about 80% are local sourced. We have a satellite depot at Hawley. It's an up-and-coming growing business. And
one of the things that you're doing with a local focus, of course, is helping out the Romney, Hythe and Dymchurch Railway. Before we talk about the work that you're doing itself there, what inspired you and the company to actually take on something like this?
At Christmas, we were just putting our heads together and we wanted to try and approach 3 different charities to give them a good donation considering the present circumstances of the world. But obviously we wanted to keep it local as opposed to go into a pot and could go anywhere in the UK. From that, the director then said in January, we'd like to try and maybe help some more community, and potentially, obviously, yourselves, Academy FM, approached us. An ideal opportunity to try and do some more advertising as well as maybe offer our services, which went hand in hand, really.
And tell us about the work that you're offering for Romney, Hythe and Dymchurch Railway. What are you doing?
The railway line, built in the late 1800s, is obviously basically a smaller version of a railway line. And, the things that need doing from structural steelwork, A-frames or holding the roof up, painting, general maintenance of foot crossings, etc., rendering part, painting, etc., is all sort of standard stuff to us, which we do on the normal running railway. We've gone through and assessed an awful lot of things from Hythe Station, say foot crossings, Dymchurch Station, and we've got some guys we've sort of allocated to the jobs, and they're up and running at the moment as we speak.
Now, finally, in terms of your whole industry coming out of COVID, is your company being locally based in the sort of position where you're actually looking to employ more people? And if so, what sort of skills are you looking for?
We are definitely going to be employing more people because as the business grows, then obviously, we need to fill them voids and make sure we've got the skilled and the correct staff with the right mentality to move forward with the AW flagship. The actual staff locally, anything from bricklayers, painters, simple labourers, we need people, to make the entire team up. So ideally PTS and being able to drive is a right asset because it saves these guys can go out to work almost within reason straight away after briefings and inductions. There's jobs available there Monday to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, evenings.
Ian, absolutely great to hear about a local company that's expanding, that's looking forward to employing more people. And I think thank you on behalf of everyone for helping out the Romney, Hythe and Dymchurch Railway. That's absolutely great. Ian Purdy, thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, young David.